An introduction to Phonetics Part II, The Organs of Speech, presented by Shanavas Pattupara, Assistant Professor, PG Department of English, Amal College of Advanced Studies, Nilambur, Kerala.
So having discussed the aspect of airstream mechanism, that means English sounds make use of the airstream mechanism for the articulation, for the production of speech sounds. What does it mean is that the pulmonic airstream mechanism, that means pulmonic means the air related to lungs. So the air that comes out of the chest, the lungs, is being made use of for the production of, for the articulation of English sounds. So that's why it is called the pulmonic airstream egressive mechanism. That is what English sounds are made up of. So we are using that sound for the production of these sounds. And now we have to move on to organs of speech. So these this air that is coming out of the lungs are actually assisted by certain organs of speech in order that it becomes a sound in a language, a recognizable sound in a language. All the sounds simply produced cannot be the meaningful sounds in a language. In order to have the quality of a speech sound, it has to go through, or it has to be assisted by some organs of speech. The organs of speech which are there in every human being. So these human beings, these organs also play an important role in shaping the nature of, in deciding the quality of the speech sounds. So let us look at these organs of speech. See, these organs of speech are basically classified into three categories. They are the respiratory system, the phonatory system, and the articulatory system. And respiratory system, we know that it's related to, this is what we can say, the respiratory system. So the word respiratory itself, it shows the respiration. Respiration means, it's a process of breathing, right? So respiratory system is related to the chest, the lungs, okay? So that is the first one. The phonatory system, again we will come to that, and the articulatory system. So three systems are there. Organs of speech, speech are classified into these three categories: the respiratory system, the phonatory system, and of course the articulatory system. Okay, let's look at the respiratory system in detail. So the respiratory system actually consists of three aspects. One is the lungs, the muscles of the chest, the windpipe or trachea. Okay, these are three parts that constitute the respiratory system. Okay, so we can look at the this one. See, you can see the right lungs and left lung here. So this is being made use of. Okay, you can see this lungs. It is through, with the help of lungs, we all know we actually breathe. So this is the first part of it, and there is this windpipe. See, when you look at this, you will find two pipes are going down from the mouth. One is the food pipe, and the other one is the windpipe that is directly connected to the lungs. So that is also known as trachea. Okay. And you must have heard of this bronchitis and all, bronchus and all. That's a part of this, what you can say, this lungs. Okay, so that's the first part of it. So the chest muscles, because the power of the chest muscle actually decide the power of our voice also. If our chest is very weak, that is the reason why the old people who are older are not in a position to articulate language very efficiently most often. It is because their chest is weak, chest muscles are weak, that they are unable to produce the sound in a most sonorous way, right? Whereas the young people whose chest muscles are really strong can actually speak better, right? So chest muscles, these lungs and trachea, these are the important parts of what you can say the first system, that is the respiratory system. And now we come to the second system, that is the phonatory system. Phonatory system actually consists of basically these vocal cords. When we look at this one, this is a cross section of our mouth and other related organs. See, here we can see this is the area what we call the phonatory system. I should just mark this. So this area is called phonatory system. So in which we have one of the important thing that we have got here is vocal folds. Okay, vocal cords we will do. It's sometimes known vocal folds. It's also known as vocal cords. That we will look at that in detail. And maybe in the case of boys, you will find that there is a projected part in our throat. That is actually the part of the vocal cords. That is actually called larynx. So inside that larynx, we have these vocal cords. So that is actually known as larynx. Okay, and there is a popular name for it, that is Adam's apple. Adam's apple. Okay, Adam in the apple. You must have known about this Adam's apple. That's a story related to Adam and Eve, the first man and woman, as per the biblical, Quranic and Semitic traditions. You must have found. See, Adam and Eve, they were spending their time happily in the Eden garden, and God has given permission to them to enjoy everything that they want, except to pluck fruit from one particular tree. Okay, and that is known as forbidden tree, because God has warned them not to approach that one. But Satan, he has come there and he has tempted Eve to pluck that particular fruit. And there is a wonderful poem by John Milton, Paradise Lost, which actually describes this process of how Eve is being tempted by Satan, and how Adam comes and he is also tempted, and both of them anyway eat this particular fruit from that forbidden tree. And Eve has first eaten that one, and Adam comes and he also starts eating. But before it goes down to the stomach, Angel Gabriel comes and actually prevents it. So it has stuck in the in the throat. So that's why that part is bulging out, projected in the case of man, it is believed. So it's also interestingly known as Adam's apple. So this Adam's apple, inside that we have, that is known as, scientifically it is known as larynx. So inside that we have vocal cords in it. Okay, so these vocal cords are the part of phonatory system. So we will go in detail about this phonatory system. Phonatory system, we have this vocal cords. So these vocal cords, inside the vocal cords, it will be like this. It has two layers, or we can say two folds in it. It has two folds. So when it is open, it will be like this part, the picture A. And if it is partly open, mostly it will be like this. And usually during breathing and all, probably it will be lying like this also, as the picture C shown. Okay, so these vocal cords has an important function to play, especially in deciding the quality of consonants. Okay, well, all the vowels have one common feature that I'll tell you. See, one of the things that we can, what these vocal cords do, is that when they are remaining closed like this, maybe as in the picture of B, what you can find is that when the air passes through these vocal cords from the lungs, it produces vibration. Okay, whereas as you find in the picture A, when it is wide apart, when the two layers of vocal cords, when these two layers of vocal cords are wide apart, there is a sufficient gap here. So through this gap, the air can freely escape. Okay, so that is another position of the vocal cords. So when these vocal cords are remaining closed like this, as in the picture of C or B, when the air passes through that, it produces vibration. So when the air passes through that particular closed, if the vocal cords are remaining together, close together, and if the air passes, it produces vibration. You can just test an example of maybe holding two papers very close, the edge of two papers close together, and if you try to blow through that one, you will understand that it produces vibration. When it is wide apart, when the two papers are wide apart, if you try to do it, it won't produce that much of a vibration. So same thing happens here also. So what happens when vocal cords are wide apart is that the air escapes without vibration. So we have voiceless sounds in English. So this is a category that we will discuss in detail. Some sounds we have already said that there are 44 sounds in English. So out of these 44 sounds, we can say that 44 sounds out of these 44 sounds in English, we have certain sounds are voiced sounds and certain sounds are voiceless sounds. So that is one thing you have to understand. Okay, voiced sounds, voiced sounds and voiceless sounds. So these voiced sounds and voiceless sounds are actually decided by the position of the vocal cords. If the vocal cords remain together, when the air passes, it produces vibration and it becomes a voiced sound. For example, z sound, z sound. Z. If you just try to put your hand on your throat, you can feel the vibrations. When you try to, so that's a quality of a voiced sound. Well, when you say b sound, you can actually feel that one. Okay, whereas when the vocal cords are wide apart, as you see in the picture A, it usually produces a sound which is a voiceless sound. For example, s sound. The sound s, when you produce that one, the sound s, this sound when you produce this s sound, it does not produce vibration. Okay, but whereas when you produce z sound, it usually produces vibration because of this one. Because if the vocal cords are together, it produces vibration. If it is wide apart, it will not produce a vibration. So that's also an important aspect that you have to remember. Anyway, we will discuss these voiced and voiceless sounds in detail later. So these are the part of this is a major part of what you can say the phonatory system. The second one, first one was respiratory system, and the second one was this this vocal cords. That is phonatory system, in which we have the vocal cords. Inside the external thing is the larynx. Okay, and now yeah, this is what you can find here. See, when you are breathing, the passage will be usually open. When you are talking, it won't have much of a space here, as you can see here. Okay, that's the thing you have to see.
Okay, do that soft. More E. There we go. Okay, take a breath. Make E and do it loud. Very nice. Make E. Okay, take a breath. Higher pitch. Okay. Again. E. There you go. There you go. Do that low pitch. Now do that loud. Okay, now breathe. Do that higher pitch again. Do that loud. E. There you go. One more. Loud. E. Think E. Okay, breathe. Again. E. Now do the inhalation. And do a regular one. Okay.
In the video that we have just seen now, we found how the vocal cords were functioning. And of course, this position of the vocal cords we have found, if they are remaining together when the air passes, it produces vibration there. But if it is wide apart, when the air passes, it will not produce vibration, therefore it becomes a voiceless sound. So this quality of being voiced or voiceless is actually decided by the position of the vocal cords. Okay, and that you can experience also. Let's take some examples of some sounds here maybe. See, for example, the sound Z sound and S sound in English, or let's say B sound and P sound, or we will take another example of K sound. Sorry, this should be here voice to sound. K sound. Okay, so let's look at these three words that we have found here. So for example, this S or Z sound. See, when we produce the word, the sound Z as in zebra or zoo, okay, what you can see now, you can either you can hold your palms against your ears, you will find Z. When you produce Z sound, you can feel the vibration. Or if you just touch, two fingers of both hands here against the Adam's apple, larynx, this is what I said. So against this larynx or Adam's apple, if you just hold your hands like this and say Z sound, you can feel the vibration. Or where the other sound, S sound, as in C, you don't find the vibration here, right? So that means the word the sound S is voiceless, whereas the sound Z is voiced. Okay. Look at the second example of P and B. Sorry, this B and P sound. Okay, what you can find is when you say B sound, again it's a voiced sound, therefore you will feel the vibration when you say B as in bat, bit, etc. Whereas when you say pin or when you say pan, you won't find the vibration here. Okay, that means P is a voiceless sound and B is a voiced sound. And look at the third example. So when you say G sound, you can actually feel the vibration here as in jug. Okay, Jim, G sound. Okay, girl, girl. Okay, in all these sounds, you can feel the vibration here. But when you say K as in king, you don't feel the vibration. That means K is a voiceless sound and G is a voiced sound. And this distinction or this difference of being a voiced sound or voiceless sound is important in the case of consonants, because in consonants we have both voiced sounds and voiceless sounds. In the vowels, this question does not arise because all the vowels are actually voiced sounds. That means in the production of vowels, the vocal cords remain together, and when the air escapes, when the air passes, it produces vibration. We have discussed two systems which are part of phonetics, that is the phonatory system. First one was the respiratory system and the second one was the phonatory system. And now we move on to the third one, that is the articulatory system. See, in articulatory system, we have three aspects there. One is the pharynx, and second one was the oral cavity, and third one was the nasal cavity. So maybe when we look at this picture, we will understand. See, the oral cavity, so we are talking about this area. I will just mark it there. See, this is the oral cavity we are talking about, and there is this nasal cavity, and there is this area of pharynx. Okay, so these are the three areas which come under the articulatory system. That means these are the organs which are primarily responsible for the articulation of the sounds. Of course, vocal cords had its function. Vocal cords do play their own role, of course, and also the respiratory system, the muscles of the chest, everything has got its own role to play. But basically the articulation, the nature of articulation of a particular word or how a word is pronounced is decided by these three things, that the systems which are coming under the articulatory system, that is the nasal cavity. We will explain that, oral cavity, as well as this one, the pharynx. Okay, in the articulatory system, we have this oral cavity, then we have nasal cavity as well as pharynx.
So in the pharynx, we have already seen in the picture, and when we talk about the oral cavity, we have some important things to discuss there. They are the roof of the mouth, the tongue, and the lips. When we look at this picture, we can find that that this is the tongue, this is a part of the oral cavity, and then we have the roof of the mouth and lips. That means all these things are important. We will come to that when we discuss each and every sound of English language. That means the vowels and consonants. So we will see how lips are playing role in the production of certain sounds, how the roof of the mouth has its role, and how the tongue actually has got its own role in the production of speech sounds. These are the organs which actually belong to the oral cavity. Say in this oral cavity, we can first discuss roof of the mouth and different parts of roof of the mouth, and they are teeth ridge, hard palate, soft palate, and uvula. Let's go back to the picture again. So this is the roof of the mouth. So in this roof of the mouth, we have here the teeth ridge. That means the area which comes directly behind the teeth is an area. This is called teeth ridge. That is also known as alveolar ridge. And then we have the hard palate. Then we have the soft palate, and the end of it there is a hanging piece of flesh that is called uvula. The different parts of the roof of the mouth here, that means the teeth ridge, the hard palate, the soft palate, and the uvula. And uvula, this hanging place actually has a function because this can be moved. As you can see here, it is closed here. So when it is closed here, this back part of the roof, that means the uvula, air will escape only through this oral cavity. Therefore, it is called an oral sound. See, most of the sounds in English are actually oral sounds because air will escape through the oral cavity alone. But there are sounds in English, as you can see in this first picture, the air escapes through this nasal cavity, whereas the air through the oral cavity is blocked at the lips, or it may be blocked at some point here, so that the air will not escape through the oral cavity. It will only pass through the nasal cavity. Therefore, those sounds are called nasal sounds. So in English, we have three nasal sounds. They are m as in man or means. Then we have n as in need, no, and also the word ng as in king, song, etc. So these are the three nasal sounds we have got in English. The rest of them are oral sounds. And there is one more category that is called nasalized sounds. So in the case of nasalized sounds, what happens is the air will escape through both the nasal and the oral cavity. It will escape through this nasal cavity. At the same time, the air will escape through the oral cavity as well. So they are called nasalized sounds in English. Nasalized sounds. Actually, we don't have such nasalized sounds in English. Whereas in languages like Hindi, we do have it. For example, ong, the words like that, sounds like that, do have the quality of nasalized one. Okay, so that you may just understand. The third aspect of this articulatory system are the lips. So we talked about the oral cavity, nasal cavity. In oral cavity, we also discussed the four parts of the roof of the mouth and also different parts of subdivisions of the tongue. We also distinguished nasal sounds and oral sounds. And now we will look at lips. Lips also have got its own importance in the production of speech sounds. Of course, we will discuss these things in detail when we discuss each sounds in RP English. But one thing we have to understand, lips also have its own role. For example, certain sounds are bilabial sounds. If I say m, my both lips are involved. So they are called bi means two, as you all know. So bilabial sounds, p, m, all these are. There are sounds which are labiodental, as means the lower lips and upper row of teeth are involved. That means f, v sounds. They are actually what you can say labiodental sounds. Another thing we have to understand is that in the case of lips, mostly it is the lower lip that is always moving. The upper lip will remain static, right? So we can say that the lower lip is actually the active articulator because it keeps moving. Even when I talk now, you can see that my lower lip is moving, whereas the upper lip remains as it is.
So the upper lip is the passive articulator and the lower lip is the active articulator. Of course, these active and passive articulators we will come to know in the case of other things also. For example, roof of the mouth. Roof of the mouth will remain static there, but it is the tongue that is moving inside. So the tongue is the active articulator and roof of the mouth is the passive articulator. So anyway, these are the things we have to remember about the organs of speech. So just to sum up this idea, we can say the organs of speech are divided into three. They are respiratory system, phonatory system, and we have got this articulatory system. So in respiratory system, we talked about the lungs, the muscles of the chest, and also the windpipe, that is the trachea. In phonatory system, we basically talked about larynx, and inside larynx we have these vocal cords which decide the quality of a sound, whether it's a voice sounds or voiceless sounds. And thirdly, we have come to the articulatory system. There we have nasal cavity, oral cavity. In oral cavity, we also discussed the aspects of the very different parts of the roof of the mouth, different parts of the tongue, and also lips. Okay, so this is all about this session. Thank you.